This episode of the Cryptonaut Podcast is brought to you by Cryptid Crate. Visit CryptidCrate.com and enter our promo code GRAMPUS, that's GRAMPUS, at checkout to get 10% off the entire life of your Cryptid Crate subscription. Okay, so before we get started, we have a quick announcement to make. Last week, we launched a Big Cartel store, so be sure to check out that link in the description of this episode. Over there, we're going to be selling some stickers and some pins and some other exclusive items coming up in the future, so be sure to check that out. Also, too, don't forget about our TeePublic shop where you can get t-shirts and travel mugs and crew necks and hoodies. The link will also be in the description of the podcast for that shop. So we got two merch shops. Big Cartel is run by us. These are things that we make and we sell and we ship out ourselves. And then TeePublic is something completely separate. They handle all the shipping. They do all the printing on there. And so, you've got two different ways to get stuff from us. Both of those shops, any purchases made, go to support the podcast financially. And as always, thank you all for your purchases. It's great to see the support from all you listeners. It's good to see you guys reacting to this. We got it loaded with a bunch of orders from the Big Cartel shop this week, so that's very cool. So, there is your Merch 101 with Mark. And again, thank you all very much. And this week is Halloween, so this is dropping on a Monday, which means Wednesday is going to be Halloween. Everyone's super excited. I learned a new word on Twitter this week, and that's spoopy. So, you know what? Keep it spoopy, keep it creepy, keep it spooky, keep it double spoopy. I'm not sure if that makes sense. I just like saying the word spoopy. It just sounds fun. So, without further ado, Christopher, cue that creepy music. Welcome to the Cryptonaut Podcast. I'm Mark Storrs, and with me, as always, is...
I'm Chris.
And...
Rob Morphy.
Happy Halloween, everybody.
Hey, thanks.
This week is Halloween. We are all super excited. I can't wait to go trick-or-treating with my kids.
I know. I wish I had kids that were trick-or-treating age in my life. My niece and nephew are now 19 and 21 respectively. So that time, I got a new baby great nephew, but he's fucking almost 6 months old.
Yeah,
so I got no trick or treat time.
You can't bring him at 6 months.
You can't. Well, you could, but it's a ridiculous waste of
Just
time.
toss him in a wagon and pull him around. Trick or treat.
Get the candy for yourself.
Yeah.
I love fucking Halloween so much.
Oh, same here.
It
Oh,
goes
it's
without
amazing.
saying,
Same here.
We're monster lovers. We
Yeah.
love, but it's not even a love of paranormal. It's just the accoutrements, the decorations. It's that crunch of the autumn
It's everything.
leaves.
The smells, the
that
feels.
Halloween vibe,
Yeah.
exactly.
Totally.
Candy's a good thing. The horror films on TV, I fucking love. It's just a perfect time of year to be a monster horror geek.
Totally. And it is a perfect time of year to start the early war on Christmas.
Oh,
Yeah.
realize
We'll talk
we were-
about that more when
we
we
were
get near
continuing this.
Christmas. Oh, the war on Christmas continues on a daily basis.
I
in
didn't know.
August, I'm waging a war on Christmas.
well, you know what? In the name of Halloween, let's just leave that aside
All
and
right.
enjoy this holiday as it is here. Well, almost here.
Yes, we will. So, as always, social medias, the Twitters, Instagrams, the Facebooks, be sure to follow us. Ratings and reviews are very important to us, and we love getting feedback from you guys. So be sure to
Totes.
leave the ratings and reviews in the iTunes and Apple Podcasts. I guess you can do it on Stitcher. You can also leave reviews if you don't have those apps on our Facebook page, so that's also very much welcomed. There's a couple other things we had to address, and it was TeePublic. Check out our TeePublic shop. We got some t-shirts for sale. Also, too, not to confuse you with too many merch shops, but we got a Big Cartel shop that we're going to be pushing some cool swag
Whenever you say
on.
Big Cartel, I think we're drug dealers
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
I think we're cast members in Narcos, and I don't understand why I wasn't given the memo.
I know.
It's just a shop that we sell our stuff on.
Phenomenal. I
Yeah.
feel much
There
safer.
it
On
is.
paper.
Oh.
That's true. That's true. Well, I did have to upgrade the PayPal account to a business account to get the Big Cartel.
Wow.
So,
What's going on at Big Cartel?
That's where we're going to be selling. We have a cool little a merch package. It's got like some stickers and some magnets and some buttons and a postcard. So it's a cool little crypto bundle of promo stuff.
Yeah.
A postcard with a mistypo making it a collector's item.
Oh, possibly, or just the fact that I don't know how to spell shit.
No.
One of the two.
You're not going to hear this. You can't admit that. Damn it.
Hey, it happens. All right. All right, so this is not necessarily super Halloween-ish, but it's kind of fun because it involves a killer.
Yes, it does.
Now,
multiple killers, perhaps.
Couple killers.
Maybe even mass murder.
Could be. So
Fun.
It's a little bit different than what we normally do, but this week we're going to be talking about Killer Bigfoot.
Yes. Bigfoot in the plural sense of Bigfoot.
So instead of doing the regular story, what we're going to do here is we're going to reference this article that Rob wrote in 2015 for the Paracon magazine.
Which I've got to say, Mark was generous enough to pick up a copy for me so I could add it to my archives. All these years, I almost forgot about it, and then you picked it up and presented it to me at a podcast. I'm like, oh, shucks.
Yeah.
Now, in the description of this podcast, we're going to have a link to where you can buy this Paracon magazine. I think it was only like $8 or something on Amazon.
Right on.
So we're going to put a link there. So basically, the overall here is that this is going to be dealing with the darker side of everyone's favorite hairy hominid. So like Harry and the Hendersons, but Michael Myers, basically.
Oh, jeez. All right.
We're also going to kind of look at a way, and I know people have certain thoughts about Sasquatch and Bigfoot and maybe like it's a gentle creature, but we're going to maybe look at a more darker side of this gentle giant, maybe a more realistic view. You know, everyone's Harry and the Hendersons really could just be this giant apex predator.
It's true.
Like a homicidal hominoid. Does that work? Right?
Why not?
Yeah.
So I guess homicide. Yeah.
Yeah, homicidal hominoid.
But that
Or
depends on
hominid.
how
Or
aware
hominid.
it really
Well,
is.
it could be either, depending on how advanced. If it's a proto-human, like a
right.
like
That's
an
what I mean.
almas,
Yeah.
that's a hominoid probably.
Right. If there's just a puma that just fucks a lot of people up, it's not homicidal. It's puma.
Exactly. Or maybe
It's puma doing puma. That's true. You're not. I guess. Are you homicidal if you're not aware that your actions are, for lack of a better word, amoral? And are we allowed to imply or impress our moral standards on wildlife?
Well, I always assumed there's an intelligence factor there for that word.
But I'm
assuming.
not qualified to answer that question.
Bigfoot seems bright. But
Does
anyway,
he?
Or is he just a killer?
I feel
just
like he's mathless, like Mark is sometimes. Mathless.
Is the Sasquatch out for blood, Rob? That's what we're going to be talking about today.
It's true for blood.
right.
And the funny thing was, I was asked to write this article, and they're like, "Oh, what can you do crypto theme?" I'm like, one of the things I've been thinking about is just exploring this kind of dark side of it. So when I read this is not going to be like our standard story. Like when I take the articles and kind of reformat them to be the scripts for our show, we deal with like a case or a series of cases.
Right.
This is going to be done in a slightly different tone because it's an article I wrote for a magazine.
Yeah.
All right,
So
cool.
I just want to make that
Yeah.
clear.
Awesome.
This is a hypothesis.
Yeah. Well,
Our thing that you wrote,
yes.
a thesis.
a thesis is a great word for it.
And while we're doing this, we're going to weave this into Halloween.
In the fact that you called it, what was it, Harry and the Hendersons meets Michael Myers, which I thought was a beautiful
Yes.
analogy.
So I've not seen the new Halloween movie yet. I'm excited to see it.
So am I.
Robert, let's get started.
I hope I never see a Bigfoot. Well, at least not face to gargantuan face. Maybe if I was riding in a dirigible. That's for you guys.
yes.
A dirigible.
Yep. Or a hot air balloon. Or a fully functioning Sherman tank.
Or a blimp
Or a blimp.
with machine guns
Or a demon boat.
and
But
owls.
the last thing in the world I would want to bump into while wandering around in a primordial, shadow-shrouded forest nestled miles away from civilization would be a 7 to 9 foot tall, 600-pound feral primate. Thanks, but no thanks.
I think we can all agree with that take on
Yeah,
it.
it seems pretty standard.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like seeing chipmunks in my living room.
No, and they're
I'm
tiny
prepared
little,
for war, basically.
friendly. Well, they're not friendly. That's a lie that Elvin and the Chipmunks taught me.
Well, that's in your house, though. Like
They
a
might be
chipmunk in nature
rabid.
won't bother you. Anything I think that's up to my knees and might be startling.
Okay, totally.
You know what I mean?
Sorry, that was whiskey. That was a
Oh,
whiskey
Rob.
sip that burned all the way
That
down with its
whiskey just went
goodness.
right into your lung, didn't it? You got whiskey
Yeah.
lung.
No, I saw
it's
you
down the
breathe
gullet.
it.
Yeah,
You're like, I shouldn't have breathed it.
I shouldn't have breathed it.
You don't breathe whiskey.
So, that's one to grow on.
All right, there you go. Continue.
All right. I know this might sound strange coming from a guy who has dedicated the better part of his adult life to fulfilling his childhood ambition of globetrotting, talking to eyewitnesses, researching and illustrating some of the most bizarre cryptid reports to come down the proverbial pike. A big bearded bastard who, 14 short years ago, now 17 short years ago, co-founded American Monsters with Mark and another buddy of ours, Mike D, over a lunch consisting of nothing but red meat and pitchers of Belgian beer. It is, however, the simple truth. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not harboring some highfalutin idea about how precious universal mysteries are to the psychological and sociological framework in which we all coexist, even if I do happen to agree with that assertion, nor would I be so bold as to suggest that there are or are not spiritual elements. That's
Oh,
from Mark.
man. Yeah.
Spiritual elements about tales of Harry Wildman, which have emerged from nearly every corner of the globe, from Australia to Siberia, that smack of some universal truths about both physical and more to the point both the physical and more to the point psychological evolution of human beings. No, for me, it's something much simpler than that. The idea of crashing into one of these massive ape-like monstrosities scares the living hell out of me. And for good reason. Firstly, these colossal creatures are, beyond a shadow of a doubt, wild fucking animals. Period. I mean, I'm digressing now.
They
They are.
don't seem to be domestic in any way.
No.
No. And again, given the size, I mean, you know, I've had run-ins with bear, and it may have been my fault. I'm not going to say that it wasn't.
You do chase bear.
You walked up to it.
I occasionally chase bear. Yeah. So just being at that size and something that's kind of you can access them fairly easily. You can just show up and be like, "There's a fucking bear."
No one has ever said a thing. I can access a bear pretty
Well,
easily.
you can really. We really aren't that far.
Decent access to
we
bears.
we aren't that far from accessing a bear.
I just love the way you put it.
So, but just what they can do.
Is devastating.
But when you actually consider, if the existence of a Sasquatch, if that is a thing, then that could literally rip your fucking arms off.
Oh, without a doubt.
And quite possibly eat you and stuff you in a
Mountain
bank.
gorillas could shred you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
completely.
and if you have something that's 9 feet tall, like say 700 pounds,
Yep.
if it chose, you are the deadest of meat.
Yeah.
You're fucked.
Yeah.
No way around it. So I'll go on to speak about wild animals. Wild animals are always dangerous, especially when their young ones are around, or when you intrude on their territory, or when they are hungry. Especially when they are hungry.
Oh, eaten by a Sasquatch.
And it's there's cases of it, to
Really?
be sure. Oh my God, the cannibal Sasquatch. Well, it's not cannibal. People call everything that eats people cannibals, which I think is fucking dumb. They're not human, so it's
no,
not
if
cannibal.
if it's not human on human barbecue, then it's not
Exactly.
cannibal.
The carnivorous predator human hunting Sasquatch.
If you get eaten by a silverback gorilla, it's not cannibalism.
No, though they're vegetarian, so that's not an option. But still.
What if you get one that's just an asshole? Is like, I'm not being a vegan today.
Like, what if they're just chewing your meat and spitting it out? I'm staying true to my beliefs, but fuck your flesh!
Yeah. I kind of like the flavor, but I'm not eating it. Not eating it.
I love fake chicken wings. Fuck you.
Oh my
See these
God.
X's? Oh.
Oh, wow. You know what though? I do love fake chicken wings, and I actually, you guys might not know this.
Fake?
I do.
like soy? Or
Yeah, I do eat a ton of like
veggie burgers and shit?
I love them. They're so.
You know,
good.
every now and again that's tasty, but I would never eat that when I'm craving meat.
Well, I was a vegetarian for 8 years.
I know you were.
So
and
there
it
you
was
go.
really one of the most heartbreaking times of my life.
I was.
We all make
I ate,
mistakes.
I,
Yeah,
ate,
we
I
do.
ate a lot of
8-year
bread and
mistakes.
pasta, so it didn't really work out too well for me physically.
You've come home. Welcome back to
Oh my
the
God,
human
how do you
boat.
not have gout?
I never got gout. Yeah,
Gout incarnate.
Between the beer. Yeah,
Fuck, man. All right.
For the better part of 5 decades now, many, if not most, Americans have harbored a kind of shared Harry and the Hendersons misconception regarding Bigfoot. They perceive this massive bipedal beast to be little more than a reclusive, gentle giant, a kind of oversized teddy bear that dwells in the nebulous void between a spine-chilling campfire story and the biological world. I consider this collective delusion regarding the gentle forest giant to not only be fundamentally erroneous, but potentially downright dangerous.
See, you anthropomorphize. What is it called? Anthropomorphize.
You got it. Anthropomorphicize.
You anthropomorphize.
Yep.
And then the size.
Oh my God.
That's how I like
If
it.
you take wild animals and give them human attributes
exactly.
so as to endear them to you.
And that's what Harry and the Hendersons did. We're all stoked. Like he's gonna help the dog. That dog was goddamn adorable. Like he's gonna
was.
help the dog out of the basement. And
Chris,
crashes
for my
upstairs.
birthday some years ago, actually got me the DVD of Harry and the Hendersons because I
see,
never
it's so
owned
good.
it.
Yeah.
And you know what?
So
Just having
good.
the collection is fun. It's a charming romp. I do not believe it authentically represents the disposition of Sasquatch.
No.
I'm gonna say
Probably
that
not.
the Sasquatch would probably eat the dog,
If it
or
was
at
hungry.
least snap it in half.
Well, they like to snap dogs.
Yeah.
Well,
And I like
I know.
dogs. So the
It's a
fact that then I
fact.
don't
they
like
would eat it or at
Sasquatch.
least snap it,
is,
in half.
it is a chronicled fact.
Why?
And by the way, I will get to some of these, though not in any great detail. Dog killing is a Bigfoot pastime. Baseball for people, though I know football is probably more popular. Dog snapping for Bigfoot. That is just their shit.
See, and I
They
love
it.
a
Well, yeah, but they
dog.
don't like sneak up behind a dog and they're like, I can't wait. Like it's probably a threat issue.
Prove it. They might
I know, I
exactly
mean,
sneak up on a dog.
I know. I'm
Prove it.
asking
Snap
in your
you.
stories. They're not ninja assassins.
Prove it.
They might be. I don't
As a
know.
dog
We'll
lover,
see
I de
with the
facto
stories.
don't like Sasquatch because they kill dogs. Okay.
They
I
probably
would
kill everything.
Technically, I would agree with Chris.
Team
they
dog.
probably only kill dogs when A, they're very hungry, and B, if this thing is attacking them, because dogs are territorial.
Dogs
these things
bark
might
at
be territorial.
everything.
And if you're just like, you got to shut the fuck up, crack.
Yeah.
Oops.
It's fucked
It
up.
could be 10
It
miles
be-
away and the
it could
dog's
be
going
a
to bark
Lenny
at it.
Mice and Men situation where like, I want to pet it and hug
Snap.
it and
Yeah.
Yep.
fuck.
Vertebrae.
Anyway.
For the sake of argument, let's suppose for a moment that Bigfoot is a real animal, which is an easy assumption to make considering the scads of photographic, video, print cast, and to a lesser degree, DNA evidence that has been collected over the decades. Granting that these creatures exist, one must also assume that they are both swift enough to capture the prey that they are pursuing and strong enough to slaughter it. At the same time, they need to be cunning enough to evade even the most skilled and well-armed trackers and hunters, which implies a degree of intelligence, I would say.
Yeah, totally.
Furthermore, there's every reason to assume that Sasquatch and its ilk are omnivorous. More than a few observers have testified to seeing these ominous ape men killing and eating deer, dogs, rodents,
Rodents.
Rodents.
and sometimes, grisly as it may be, humans. As if that weren't unsettling enough, there are multiple accounts of these critters scaring off ordinarily fearless alpha predators like the Alaskan grizzly, which is a fucking mountain of flesh, claws, and teeth. Yet there are legitimate accounts of... I remember this one... it was like a documentary about Alaskan cryptids, and this boat captain was like, this grizzly was on shore walking around, suddenly got really tense, looked around, and booked away, and about 20 seconds later, an even larger, like 9 foot tall or so is how he estimated it, I think, Sasquatch came out. So when you are
Whoa.
terrifying an Alaska grizzly,
Yeah.
you don't get fucked with. You're the unfuckable. Because it's
you're
terrifying.
You're
Well,
top
yeah.
of the food chain at that point.
Bearing this in mind, one is compelled to consider just how wise it would be to wander into a region where even gigantic grizzlies and hypercarnivorous wild felids fear to tread. One need only to glance at the published accounts of encounters with Sasquatch to find story after story of rocks being thrown at unwary travelers or cabins ransacked by huge two-legged scavengers. Terrifying tales of monstrous hands reaching through the windows of rural homes, or pets found mutilated in the yard next to oversized humanoid footprints, or hikers who claim to have been pursued, or in some cases even kidnapped, by mammoth wild men who reek of sulfur and rotten flesh.
My
In
favorite.
chapter 12, I know, that's the best smell. That's fucked your car noir. Can you give
So
me
it's
that
just-
sulfur and rotten flesh?
It's just
No, it's the
farts
best.
and old
Yeah.
burgers,
Well,
really?
I mean, one of the most consistent things about Bigfoot encounters, swamp ape most acutely because that is really known for how rank it is. But any hairy hominid in general is it stinks. Sulfur is always associated with it, and just this rotten carcass, nasty smell. Like people are like, it's permeating and horrible, and it really. It's almost like if you're in the woods and you suddenly smell this, you're either next to a carcass
Yeah.
or you're about to see a fucking Bigfoot.
Right.
It's crazy. In chapter 12 of his book Bigfoot, The True Story of Apes in America, noted author and cryptozoologist Lauren Coleman chronicled the oft-ignored side of primatology's most elusive quarry, the slaughtering Sasquatch. The author states, stories of violent Bigfoot do exist. Giant cannibals in the bush eating women are parts of ancient Indian lore. There are also reports of Bigfoot killing dogs. These begin with the hairy wild man of Gladwin County, Michigan, who killed a dog with one blow of its hand in October of 1891, to the 1970s Missouri account of Momo seen carrying the bloody carcass of a dog. There is also the Wisconsin encounter in 2000 of a similar beast carrying a dead and bloody animal. So, it's funny. This is not often reported. Like, usually someone sees something in the woods, they're with their family or walking alone.
Right.
It walks towards them or more often than not away from them. They
Yeah.
get scared and book. That's the standard thing. That's where I think the gentle giant myth comes from. It's like, these things are huge animals and they could tear us limb from limb, but more often than not, they avoid us. But I think that's a sage thing any wild animal would do.
But yeah, not every grizzly charges you.
Absolutely.
Like, I think the bulk probably run away.
And if you're a
Yeah,
hunter and
honestly.
you reek of gunpowder, I don't know if scientists have ever done tests on this. I assume they have. I would think that at this point, the more advanced mammals would associate the smell of gunpowder and the smell of humans to be something dangerous. to avoid, generally speaking, rather than unless you're starving or wildly territorial and you're next to like their bear cubs or whatever,
Right.
baby Sasquatch, that they would generally prefer to leave you alone because people are fucking dangerous.
Yeah.
I mean, we are the apex predators of the planet. We're not the strongest, we're not the fastest, we don't have good talons or teeth, but we've got guns and brains, and we are fucking
Yeah,
just
that's the deal.
super goddamn dangerous.
We have helicopters.
We do have helicopters.
Drones.
Yep.
These are the killer things. So anyway, one of the things that gets kind of swept under the carpet are all these accounts of dead animals that Sasquatch seems to be carrying with it. Famed Bigfoot researcher John Green, he's one of the old school ones from way back in the Bluff Creek days, also collected stories of Sasquatch killing dogs, and he dug up no less than 6 accounts of human beings who were murdered by Bigfoot. Which, you know, as Chris would say, if it's a wild animal, it's not a murder. It's just fucking a puma being a puma.
Yeah, it's just a squatching out.
Yes, Squatch
Just
is going to
killing
squatch.
people, yeah.
Or if it's slightly smarter, it's a fucking murder spree. One of these harrowing tales hailed from Alaska during the 1970s. His informant told Green of a hairy man-like beast that had, in one frenzied evening, attacked a group of men who had made their homes on boats anchored in the Yukon River. The account recorded that the boatman's dogs eventually managed to drive off the brutal, shaggy giant, but the injuries sustained by the men were more than they could bear, and they all died soon after.
Jesus, how many people were it?
I didn't read. They
Damn.
didn't say, but if it's more than 3, it sucks.
Yeah.
Well, if it's 1, it
Shit.
sucks.
Yeah.
If it's more than 3, it's a fucking tragedy. Another disturbing account was published in the October 31st, 1970 edition of the Bigfoot Bulletin by George Haas. Reprinted in that issue was a letter from an Army trainee named Nick E. Campbell, who was stationed at Fort Ord, California. Campbell claimed that 2 Texas National Guard privates, one of whom was a minister named Royal Jacobs, nice fucking name,
Royal.
It's pretty fucking sweet.
told him that in 1965, a giant hairy creature had allegedly killed a number of people near Jefferson, Texas. This is something that really should be worth researching. And if I can find any more info on this, it is definitely a pot. Because a Bigfoot massacre in Jefferson, Texas in 1965
Yeah, what the fuck?
is a story worth fucking telling.
Is that a movie? It's got to be.
I don't. I've
We
never
should
heard.
make it.
Besides, when I was doing the research for this, I've never really heard of this account
Really?
ever.
Interesting. All right.
Yes.
Cool.
The Reverend told Haas that he was a member of the posse that had tracked the beast and that he had bore witness to the ravaged corpse of one of its victims. And that's where that account ends. But it definitely, I'm definitely digging
We're gonna
into
dig
this.
into that. Yeah.
More violent antics, and I guess maybe that's not the way I should have written
Violent
it.
antics.
Yeah.
It's
Antics.
really not antics.
More
No.
homicidal shenanigans.
More death antics.
Murder fun.
Yeah, murder fun. There you go. I get.
More murder fun occurred that same year on August 13th, 1965, when an enormous bushy beast, that was the description, attacked 17-year-old Christina Van Acker and her mother, Ruth Owens, in Monroe County, Michigan. Michigan is actually a hot spot for Bigfoot.
The
You never hear
the
you
Upper
always hear about the
Peninsula?
Pacific,
Yeah.
the Pacific
Yeah.
Northwest,
Yeah.
and you hear about the American Southeast, but you rarely hear about Michigan. But Michigan is fucking just loaded with Bigfoot encounters. Riddled
with
is right.
squatch.
Infested with squatch.
Scads of enigmatic entities.
Enigmatic entities.
Enigmatic.
You
What'd
got
say?
it, buddy.
I didn't-
You know
no.
what? You know, Mark and his speech therapy. We've been working wonders.
Yeah.
And we're all so proud of the progress.
I can't say enigmatic
N?
entity.
Just say
Yeah.
N.
Enigmatic.
Like letter N.
N.
Ig.
Matic.
Matic. Nailed it.
Enigmatic entity.
Nailed it. Now you can say it forevermore.
Enigmatic entity.
I know.
I'm so proud
You
of
don't have
him.
to say it like a
Oh my
satanic
God. I'm going
priest.
to give.
Like Anton
Your
LaVey.
face- yeah, your eyebrows go amp, and you're like, "Ew." I'm like, dude.
Enigmatic. Okay.
He is getting a gold star next week.
Yeah, you
That's
got
right.
one.
God damn it.
Van Acker and her mother, Ruth Owens, I already covered that. Van Acker was driving her mother home when she suddenly felt a jolt. She hit her brakes and was immediately grabbed by a huge hairy hand which was attached to a growling malodor.
Maloder. My God, a maloder.
A malodorous?
Jesus Christ. Now we all need speech therapy. Malodorous.
No, you really wrote down malodorous.
Malodorous.
What's a malodorous?
Oh, God, that's-
What's malodorous?
Stinky.
Oh.
Mal being bad, odorous.
So the second
Smell.
episode that I learned new words.
See, we're all here to teach. We're like the Sesame Street of filthy, over-drinking crypto fucking
Yeah.
geeks.
All right.
We're awesome.
All right, there you go.
God damn it. Van Acker was driving home with her mother. She hit her brakes and was immediately grabbed by a huge hairy hand which was attached to a growling, malodorous humanoid, who proceeded to bash Van Acker's head against the inside of the car door. So it's not
Jesus.
fucking around. It's not like a gentle touch. It's
No,
like
it is
hand
grabs
in
her
hand
and it's
in.
like,
Bum, 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 bum. It's just a
Wow.
horror show.
Fuck.
Not knowing what else to do, her terrified mother ran for help. It is a miracle that she ever saw her daughter alive again.
God damn.
The thing left.
I was
Left
going to
her-
say she just left while it was smashing her
the
head
thing
against
took
the
off.
God.
By the time the mother returned, she found her daughter like semi-conscious, bloody and beaten. Thank God the thing didn't take her out.
Yeah.
Didn't do any nefarious shit to her any more than, wrecking her face. It was a horror show. There is also the famous story recounted by President Theodore Roosevelt in his book The Wilderness Hunter, which was published in 1890, wherein two trappers had a grisly encounter with a huge hairy creature in the Bitterroot Mountains in the mid-1800s. After a terrifying night during which a wild beast had twice ransacked their campsite, the trappers decided to pack up and move to friendlier territory. One of the men, a fellow named Baum, checked the traps while his companion stayed behind to pack. When Baum returned, he discovered his partner's mutilated corpse. The man's neck was broken, and 4 puncture wounds, presumably teeth, had collapsed his throat. Needless to say, the surviving trapper wasted no time in exiting the area. And I should say, the night, like, they got ransacked when they went out trapping one day. They came back, fixed their camp.
Right.
That night, something tried to come in and ransack it again. Baum came out and shot at what he said was, I think, a bipedal ape-like monster. So that's why it's not a fucking cougar attack. It's like,
Right.
because the way I wrote it, it seems like this could be any wild animal, fuckface. Why they
I
saw
didn't-
something like
I
that.
didn't want to bring it up, but I was like,
I delivered the goods.
Okay.
I
Yeah,
brought
I was
the
like,
facts.
it's Jason.
You know what I did?
Yeah.
I just gave you one of those little asterisks, and now you go to the reference.
Oh, yeah, you can go look at it?
I just delivered.
Nice. I like it.
On July 16th, 1924, the olden days, the Oregonian published a story about a group of miners who claimed that they shot and killed an ape man, quote unquote. During what must have seemed like an endless night, the miners were besieged in their cabin by enraged, rock-throwing man-beasts that did their level best to break down the windows and doors. The men remained up throughout the night, blasting holes in the cabin's walls and roof in an effort to kill their simian assailants. The site of this incident was known as Ape Canyon from thereafter. So to this day, there's a place called Ape Canyon near Mount St. Helens. And it is named so because these fucking miners who killed apparently a Sasquatch were besieged.
By
all
more
night
than
long.
one
So it's like
Sasquatch
Night of the
were, like,
Living
throwing
Dead.
knives.
A pile of
Really?
Bigfoot were throwing rocks, bashing on the doors and windows. And so it's like, say, 7 men, I don't know how many they were, armed, shooting through the walls, huddling together in one terrifying night. They managed
Wow.
to survive. Apparently, the place was just a shit show of bullet holes and
Dude.
bashing, and most of them never ever went there again for obvious
Night
reasons.
of the Living Squatch.
It really is. That's a perfect
Wow.
analogy.
There you go.
I wish times like this. I'm like, why isn't I wish forensics and things were
I know.
Available then.
Yeah,
thing.
totally. Yeah,
Totally. I
And
know.
a fucking iPhone,
Well, the funny thing is,
Instagram
we
story.
have
Nobody would
iPhones
believe it if
now
it was
and
an
super
iPhone.
forensics.
You wouldn't
And
believe
it's
that.
like, God damn it, we need these things to start happening. So 3 of the guys can film the entire thing while the other 4 are fucking shooting everywhere.
Yeah,
And plus, we could have
Right.
forensics to fucking, it's a.
yeah.
And
No,
they
totally.
they called it an ape man. For
Yeah.
them, maybe they know it's a gorilla. There's no concept of a Bigfoot back then.
Yeah, I know. That's
that
why I
wasn't
was
a
like,
thing that developed until California in the mid 50s
Right.
with the dubbing of it as Bigfoot. People just thought, it's a North American ape and it's dangerous, and America's young and we're always discovering new species. No biggin.
Yeah.
Another story seems to prove that these creatures are not just aggressive toward humans, but also toward each other. The frankly disconcerting account comes from George Brousseau, who wrote about a terrifying experience that his grandfather Elliot had had while hunting with friends in 1944 in Okanagan County, Washington. This is an excerpt from the letter. Grandfather Elliot was hunting with some old buddies when they happened on a terrible ruckus. They saw 2 big hairy males, each with their hands clasped together in club fashion, using them as weapons on each other, swinging their arms and clasped hands with full force, knocking the other down until both were on the ground trying to get to their feet. So this is like a fucking Sasquatch duel. This is how you do it. 2 fists together,
Like double
club
axe
fist,
handle,
and you
like the
You mean
sledgehammer.
You get the first hit.
like beat it,
and then they get the second
like they
hit.
tie their hands together and
Yeah,
they're fucking.
it's fucking crazy. It's
So
almost
are their hands like this and they're hitting each other?
That's
with
exactly
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And it's like the Marcus of Queensberry rules in that one gets a hit, The other one gets hit. It's almost like a giraffe duel, when they wrap their necks around each other
Oh,
and bash
yeah,
each other with their
yeah.
fucking horned skulls. But it's like one, then the other, then the other. So it's fucking.
So it's like
crazy.
It's like a fucking Sasquatch like slapping match.
I guess, except
with-
it's
with
two
their
fists
giant
that are stronger
hands.
than a goddamn sledgehammer
Yeah,
being
wow.
thrown at you at an impossible speed.
Huh.
The object of the disagreement between the Sasquatch appeared to be a dead deer laying on the ground nearby. This is the crazy part. At one point, the larger Sasquatch picked up the dead deer and swung it full force into the side of the face of the other one, felling him to the ground.
I smash him with
So,
a dead deer.
so they're doing the rules,
Oh.
fist, and the bigger one's like, fuck you, grabs this motherfucking
hits him with it?
dead
Ugh.
deer and just to make sure we fully understand the
Okay.
implications of this astonishing situation.
Jesus.
According to eyewitness testimony, one Bigfoot thrashed another Bigfoot utilizing a dead deer as a fucking bludgeon.
Yeah.
That ranks as one of the most awesome, ostensibly true accounts I've ever come across. And
It's
that
pretty
is true.
cool.
Just like boom, 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 fuck it, whack,
Yeah.
antlers, head,
Yeah, when
fucking,
you smash your fellow
and
Bigfoot
it just
with
tromps
a
away.
fucking
It's like
deer.
that
Yeah, it's
Bigfoot's
like, there you
down,
go.
deer is mine.
Nice.
Despite the disquieting undertones of their relationships with each other and the human race, I will tactfully ignore accounts of Bigfoot having been caught mid-coitus with a presumably reluctant bovine. Yes, Bigfoot has been seen fucking cows.
What?
Did you not
But
hear
did
what I
you-
just
I
said?
know it. That's
I
what he
claim
just
to
said.
tactfully ignore it while fully describing it, which is a shitty way of doing it, but I still
Did
did
we
it.
talk about this at one point?
I
Though?
think we might have.
Why do I think that we talked about this?
Maybe on the last podcast, maybe on this one. I don't know, but we have definitely talked about it.
Was it during like an Evil Science and Magic Buddies we talked about
Mm, that
this?
could have
Could
been.
very well have been. I do not have a photographic memory of everything I've said.
So there's a story of a Bigfoot fucking a cow.
A farmer came
Cow-
across
yeah.
a Bigfoot full-on
Alright.
cowy style, I guess,
Okay.
porking his bovine.
All right. I mean,
Yay.
yeah,
So
weird.
as fundamentally
Yay.
fucked up as all these stories are, it seems as if Sasquatch has got a crack public relations team because no matter what shady shit, how much homicide, how many
You know,
dead dogs,
it doesn't, yeah.
the gentle giant retains, or remains, I should say, that image. Creatures that should inspire fascination in academic circles and awe and fear in the rest of humanity have become pop culture icons that have taken over the airwaves with TV shows too numerous to count. Midway through the second decade of the 21st century, it appears as if this enigmatic entity, that's for you, buddy.
enigmatic entity.
You did it.
I said it.
Has evolved from an incredible natural mystery to North America's unofficial furry mascot, and its popularity is growing exponentially. Each year, there are hundreds of Bigfoot reports from across the globe, and probably twice as many that go unreported by those who fear being stigmatized as a fringe lunatic. But in the end, it's not the hearsay or the headlines that send chills up my spine. It's the stories that never get told. The stories that very likely die with their victims.
Whoa.
Heavy.
Halloween.
Wow. Well,
It's-
game over.
It's the
Yeah, dude.
I know, it's true. It's the backpackers who never come out of the forest, or the hiker that must have slipped and fallen down a ravine whereupon scavengers set in on the body. Events that get treated as unfortunate accidents or human error when they could have just as easily been pissed off territorial predators turning human remains into Bigfoot chow. Of course, I might be wrong. Maybe Bigfoot likes to frolic through pastoral glades and nurse injured chipmunks back to life. I just don't know. And with all sincerity, I hope I never find out.
yeah.
There's another thing that I feel like I should mention quickly. This is something
Okay.
that came to my attention during one of the radio interviews I've done over the last few years, and that is the Highway of Tears, which is about a 500-mile stretch of road on Highway 16 between Prince George and Prince Rupert in British Columbia, obviously Canada. From 1969 until the present, there have been scads of mostly women who have disappeared. The people think, yes, there's hitchhiking and murders, and it's a very remote place. It lacks a lot of good public transportation. And it's right in an area where there's, I think, 23 First Nations communities, which is what we call Native America in the United States, but
Right.
there they call them First Nations. and according to Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio,
Oh, yeah.
who is
That's right.
from that area, he was explaining to me that a lot of the indigenous peoples believe that these women are kidnapped by Sasquatch for purposes of breeding or sexual use, even if they can't have babies,
Jesus, really?
and then food.
Ooh,
So
Jesus.
that's another thing
All
I
right.
wanted to throw in that wasn't actually in the article.
Gross.
That came to me since then. So basically, what my point in writing this article was, and what my belief is that my thesis, as Chris said, which was excellent, that I don't think we should be super comfortable with the idea of,
Right.
of Sasquatch being something that is at worst unconcerned with us and at best kind of likes us at a distance and wants to be our furry buddy, but is
Right.
too shy to come out. I don't think the evidence bears that out in the fucking least. I
Well,
would
no, it
never
doesn't.
recommend
No.
to anyone monster hunting alone or any hunting alone. You don't go into the woods alone. I mean, if you're super trained and a former Navy SEAL and you have mad credentials for that kind of shit, fine, do it.
A
But if
Navy
you're
SEAL.
if you're anybody who's fucking normal, don't do it.
Long range assassin.
Because bad shit can happen to you,
Ninja
period.
swords.
Regardless of Bigfoot.
Yeah, you know.
no, if you're a samurai, an expert with a katana, sleep wherever you fucking
I mean,
want.
even then, bring 2 other samurai friends.
It would help.
Yeah. No, I think I can agree with that. And plus, too, I think an important thing to remember here, too, is that if Sasquatch is, a real thing, which I'm not sure if it is or not, that it is a wild animal. And as much as, I want to
Yeah.
believe that I can find a raccoon, become its friend, and feed it whatever.
We all have
Twinkies
those
and hot dogs
Disney
and
nature
shit.
documentary
Yeah, it's not
fantasies
gonna
about
happen.
nursing an injured animal and it becomes your lifelong
It's not how
domesticated
it
buddy.
works. Yeah.
Not usually, no.
No.
Some things you can.
Yeah, yeah. I recently
saying
saw,
don't do it,
I
but,
saw a
like-
video about these domesticated fox from Russia, and
Yeah,
they were just
foxes-
goddamn adorable. But
Sure.
they're like, you know what? They're still wild animals.
Most
So
of them
that's
are
a
when they
fox.
find those though are like babies
Right.
or injured,
Yeah.
but they're not overtly like Tasmanian devils when you pick them up.
Yeah,
you know what I
no.
mean.
Well, yeah,
No.
and you can raise an abandoned lion cub.
Right.
And there is a chance it will devour you, but there is a better chance that it will have an affection for you because you were like a parent figure to it,
Right.
nursed it, did
It's
all
a
the things with the
possibility.
bottle.
Which, I mean, okay, let's say, sake of argument, you find a baby squatch and you nurse that little bastard back from the brink of death,
Right.
and then you're with it. Okay, cool.
First off, how is that not a movie? Secondly,
Yeah, actually, that would be a great movie.
oh my God, Baby
With
Squatch.
Seth Rogen.
Oh, you want a comedy?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. How could it not be a comedy?
Because I thought it was a
Didn't you see
heartstring pulling
Paul?
wildlife extravaganza.
Didn't you see Paul the Street
Jesus
Alien?
Christ.
I have not.
Oh, you didn't see Paul? Did you see Paul?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like he'd be like Paul, but with a Sasquatch, and he's not from space, or is he? Oh, Intergalactic
Space Squatch?
Bigfoot. Yeah,
Yeah.
Space Squatch.
All right, let's fucking get you back on point.
I
'cause you're
don't
fucking
necessarily think.
If you raised a baby Sasquatch, I would think if it is a relatively advanced mammal, that it would probably be endeared to you. Like
probably
if
would
you're
be.
the one it bonds with, otters do it. I mean, if you
Right.
raise an otter,
Oh, they're
they go
goddamn
stupid
cute.
without you. Like the people that raise otters in zoos, I remember seeing a documentary, they have to wear full face masks and body masks because if they imprint on you,
Oh,
they're
yeah,
never happy
that's
without you
right.
again.
Yeah.
And you can never send them back to the wild.
I'm just going to assume that if you're talking about this hairy hominoid that is out there,
Or hominid.
Hominid.
Hominid being more ape-like, hominoid being more human.
right? Even if it's more human-like, I just don't see it necessarily being this gentle giant. I'd like to believe that it is, but honestly, it seems like it's just a wild animal.
Yeah,
and
that's
like
the
any
thing.
wild animal, it would react as a wild animal.
Absolutely. It's not malicious necessarily.
Yeah.
It's not
No.
thinking evil thoughts. It's not like I'm collecting skulls to decorate my cave.
Oh, is it the
Sure.
Jeffrey? Is it the Jeffrey Dahmer of fucking Sasquatch?
It's a possibility.
I
I
know.
wrote a script
It
once.
wears a human suit.
Funnily enough, somebody hired me to write a script about a monstrous Sasquatch, and I'll make the story really quick. And so I was working on the script, and my idea was it was a rogue Sasquatch that was fucking just crazed. It was not part of its clan, so it was murdering these people. Like it was these forest. Like hippie types that were trying to chain themselves to trees to stop the deforestation and the
Right.
people there, and of course they had to come together against a common enemy. So it's a standard stalk and slaughter horror film. But at the end, this is one of my great twists that I love, is that when he's about to they're fighting him with one of those logging machines, and it's aliens. It's a machine against the monster. It looks like they're about to lose. When all of a sudden, these 5 other Sasquatch come from the forest, and they're having these big fucking cudgels, these huge limbs that have
Yeah.
been torn off, and they're like, "You don't represent us the right way," and they beat the mad Sasquatch to death and just drag him back out into the woods and disappear.
Is this written?
I wrote the script. Yeah,
Why can't we turn this into a comic book?
well, we might be able to. I can tell you one thing. When I was meeting with the director, he said, "Yeah, no, I know the investors want a Bigfoot, but can we make this more like a giant bat?" And I'm like, "Oh, you fuck,
A giant bat?
you fuck,
Wait,
you
wait,
son
wait,
of a
wait,
bitch."
wait, hold on.
How does
is,
that
is
work?
he saying like a bat squatch?
No, well, man, I don't.
Or
it was
just like
it's
a bat,
No,
like-
he wanted a giant monster that had weird spindly limbs that look like a bat. So he wasn't specifically saying a giant bat, but a giant bat-like monster with like the pointy nose and the pointy, like it just. I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
The whole fucking point of this is it's a crazy rogue Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Yeah, fucking bat.
So that went kind of down the shitter, as a lot of things
But that's
do.
a fucking great script that I want to read and turn into a comic book possibly and sell in our big cartel store.
Oh my god!
Yeah, we got merch.
Oh, Jesus
I
Christ.
apologize about digressing
No,
with my Hollywood
that's
failures,
cool.
but
So, I mean,
but yes, the
It-
idea of a
it just-
crazed Sasquatch. I
Yeah.
think that was my point at the beginning. I'm sorry to interrupt you. The point I was trying to get at when I go tangents, I sometimes lose it. Is that I'm sure, like human beings, there are some that are crazier. There are some that are more aggressive. There are some that are kinder. Like a lot of times when people see these things and they just sort of get nervous and walk the other way.
right.
That's legit. A lot of people do that. But a lot of times when others are like, our car was attacked, it was chasing us, it was smashing on the
It
roof
would be
of the
like a
vehicle.
territorial thing.
That could be. It could be
So-
territorial. Could be protecting young ones.
Yeah,
I mean,
could
generally
be
speaking,
anything, I
hunger-
guess at that point.
Like, is there like a consensus about like the dietary nature of a Sasquatch?
I don't think there's a consensus. I think a lot of people say it's vegetarian, but I think more people, and this is the camp I fall into, would say omnivorous because people have seen it like getting shellfish out of creeks.
Right.
And of course the
But I
deer,
mean-
the stories of it, killing
Yeah,
and
so
eating deer.
as far as being carnivorous,
Well,
like,
yeah,
is
that's why-
that a
that's
thing
why-
where it's just gonna like?
I don't think it's exclusively carnivorous. I think it's omnivorous. I think it is
Right.
an animal that eats what is available. So like a panda or a mountain gorilla, it probably eats leaves and grasses and whatever it has access to. And when it has access to meats and it needs the protein, I mean, it's got to
Right,
fulfill
it's
a lot
there's
of dietary needs to be this large. It
Yeah.
needs a lot of nourishment, period. And a lot of that, I mean, part of what made the human race survive is meat. The
Yeah.
high proteins, this really, and we're built like predators. And just like
Yeah.
Sasquatch tribe, we have forward focused eyes, canine teeth. We are fucking predators. I think they're people. Maybe they're people, but creatures that will eat whatever is available. And I certainly think that includes meat.
Okay, whether it be people or deer, dogs,
Or dogs.
Yep.
Meat is meat.
Yeah.
When you're
Yeah.
a wild animal and you're hungry, meat is meat. You're not discerning.
So with some of these stories, though, it sounds like with the woman in the car that it just outright attacked her.
Yes.
Like that. Not necessarily. Not saying that it wasn't provoked because they very well could have provoked it without knowing that they did. So that brings up the whole like homicidal hominoid, right?
Right.
That whole thing there, the Michael Myers of the Sasquatch world.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If
I mean,
if some
there
people
are-
can go psychotic,
Like, isn't like a Wolverine like the asshole of nature because it just doesn't necessarily kill for food? Sometimes it just kills for fun.
a
Where
lot
it's
of
sort of like
not
an
just
asshole.
Wolverines, but other animals just do that.
Yeah, so I mean, if you take that and you kind of like put that over to like a Sasquatch, where you're like, this thing is just a dick, and
It's
just
possible.
kills to kill. But is that really? I mean, is that like a? How does that work in nature? Where it's just like, fuck it, I'm just gonna kill to kill.
I
Like,
can't
how
explain
how
that.
does that work? Do you know how that works? I have no idea. Is it even a thing? I don't know. Where are we?
No. Well, there's certain terms
Okay.
that we only because we are, as far as we know, the only self-aware creatures, for sentient that can
Right.
think and be like, think about our own survive, like us existing. Like
Right,
other
so
things don't seem to be
we
able to
can
have that.
kill,
Well, we have philosophy,
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
but primates are self-aware. Primates are aware. This is
But
what I'm doing. This is who I
murder
am.
a thing?
I love things.
Well, I don't know if they go, "This is who I am." I don't think
I
on that level.
No,
I think they do. This is who I am.
I think they know maybe
no,
of what they
absolutely.
are. But
When you talk about like the studies being done in zoos,
I mean, some can, then.
no, they recognize the difference between themselves in a mirror and somebody else. I don't mean they know. I think therefore I am, and they're like
No,
getting
that's
heavy
what I-
into
that's what I-
philosophy.
that's what
don't
I
mean
say.
that. I just mean they recognize that this is not another primate. This is me.
Yes,
You
they-
know?
well, yeah,
So
it's-
fundamental awareness of self is all I mean. Nothing profound or philosophical. No.
yeah.
No.
they
Descartes
seem,
or
they
whatever.
might seem to know they
Descartes.
exist. Yes, but they don't. They don't have. It doesn't
Probably
seem to
not.
me,
But that having been said,
How does that interplay with-
let's go to chimpanzees like we're talking. Some of them have been known to kill other members of their troop for no good fucking reason. That's homicide.
It's murder,
in my
yeah.
estimation.
That's a goddamn
and
murder.
you have to assume Sasquatch, much like we share 98% of our DNA with a chimpanzee and a bonobo. We're very, very genetically close to. Just the small
Right.
differences are big differences, but they're very small. Well, we'd have to assume that we're probably just as close or pretty damn near to a Sasquatch. And if that's the case, and they have some element of self-awareness and how they function, and maybe they're isolated loners because they're not often seen in big groups. Maybe they live in pocket colonies. I mean, these are things we can't estimate. But if they're remotely social and have a little bit of self-awareness, then sometimes they're probably just killing for food. Sometimes they're killing on accident.
Or
and
sometimes
they're probably nutso caluzzo.
It's just for fun.
Not
and just
so caluzzo.
murdering for joy.
Dude, man
That could
trapping
be.
for sport and profit. That's actually a record from Scissor Fight that we might end up having to put one of those songs on our Spotify playlist.
I do like Scissor Fight.
There you go. Scissor Fight
Snap.
rules.
So they're animals at the base. So whether or
Right.
not any of them are going rogue and homicidal, animals are territorial. Animals do not want you near their young. And when animals are hungry, even if they would ordinarily turn the other way, be it a bear or a big cat or whatever, they won't. They will predate on humans. They will, or any
Yeah,
other animal
totally.
they can. And that's what I think a lot of this ends up being. I
So
really don't
you
think it's a
don't-
madness.
You don't think
No,
it's
I
like,
don't think so
You
either.
don't think it's like a Jason Voorhees type situation,
like a
where it's-
psycho squatch?
Yeah, where it's gonna like chew ma itself into your fucking
I'm
head.
not saying it's never happened.
Okay, all right.
I do think that,
Just-
like those crazed chimps and other primates that will just
Right.
murder
Just
somebody
imagine,
for no good reason. That
Just
probably
imagine
happens.
like the horror of like a clan of murderous Bigfoot. I don't know why I'm saying clan because I don't know if they're really.
It's
stick
like
together
the
that.
hills have eyes.
It is, yeah, or like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, where
Totally.
like the Sawyer family, but they're fucking 7 foot tall and 900 pounds, and you're like, oh shit,
Yeah.
they're just gonna rip me the fuck apart,
That makes sense
and
to
then
me.
where my head is a ring.
Well,
Like,
of course,
yeah.
we wouldn't. But
wouldn't?
I know.
But yeah, there's probably different groups. You know what I also think of that Scottish family that lived in the caves in the Highlands, and they would come up and murder the passersby.
Shit, yeah,
which
oh,
actually inspired
fuck.
The Hills Have Eyes.
Yeah,
I can't remember their name.
God damn, what was her name? Ah, shit, my true crime podcasts are failing me.
Oh,
Fuck.
boo.
I can't remember, but it was interesting.
It's
it was,
easily Googleable.
It
Yeah,
is,
you
but
can
we're
just
not
Google
going
it.
to because we
Oh
don't
no.
do that.
No. I mean for our audience. What I'm saying is this: if a group of Sasquatch were along those lines, like you just get a taste for human flesh. Like some animals, like they have to kill certain lions when they're on preserves because they eat a human, and it's like, oh, it's on. These are some tasty long pig, which is of course in Papua New Guinea what they call humans because
Yeah.
they taste so much like pork. So when the lion gets a taste, or any other big cat or wild animal, for human flesh, they have to be put down because apparently we're fucking delicious.
Oh, yeah.
Like
Right.
we taste so effing good, it's unbelievable. And they get this, and it's like crack. It's flesh crack. They just want to eat the fuck out of us. And so
Wow.
if a Bigfoot clan, or even an individual, but let's go with a clan like we were talking, gets a taste for the human flesh, then it could be on. They could be constantly on the prowl for hikers, whatever. If they live
Dude,
in a real
once you get that
isolated
first
part
taste,
of British
yeah,
Columbia, you get that
dude, you
taste, it's
can't-
on,
you can't get
then
it out
you
of
a
your
little more-
mouth.
Then
I
you're
hear you,
trying
man.
to quit. You're like,
Savory.
no,
I don't want it.
I'm going for chipmunk, man.
It's worse than smoking cigarettes.
It probably is.
Yeah.
And it's like when we love crab meat, but getting to that fucking
I
shit
love
is
cigarettes.
difficult. It's difficult to suck the meat out. It's like that. And you're like, why do I want to eat this goddamn bunny that's such a fucking pile of bones and a little bit of flesh
Yeah.
when I can get a big fucking hunk of human where you can just bite into the thigh and it's all meat and it's
Yeah.
joy.
And then
Are we
smoke.
justifying fucking Sasquatch?
I think we're justifying
human eating?
Sasquatch murder. Yeah,
Well,
actually.
so
Are we
If they're
Sasquatch?
animals, what are you going to do?
Are we Sasquatch murder sympathizers?
Will that
Are we
lose,
Depends on the
sympathizing with
motive.
will that
Sasquatch?
lose us any listeners? Because that depends on my answer.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe.
Then sure, I
I'm
am.
not like I'm not pro Sasquatch killing people, and I'm not necessarily pro people killing Sasquatch.
But we're just trying to get into their heads. We're not pro anything. We're
Let's just
just
say that
scientifically
if
trying
I
to know
was-
what their motives are.
If you're a Sasquatch, you could very fucking easily kill people. Humans.
Easily.
No problem.
not even an issue.
Yeah, it wouldn't
If
be
they can
hard.
snap a dog, they can snap a person.
You know what's funny actually is recently, just this past week or 2 weeks ago on our Instagram account, I posted up this. It's a comic book by Steve Niles, the guy that did 30 Days a Night.
Oh yeah, of course.
Rob Zombie and I can't forget the cover artist. I forget his name, but he's fucking awesome. And it's basically a horror comic about these people being terrorized and killed by a Sasquatch, just called Sasquatch.
Yeah.
From IDW. From I think
You know,
it was
I've
back in,
seen
like,
a couple
it
of
was
those covers. It's a
back in
few
two-
years old. Yeah.
It was back in like 2005.
God bless them.
Yeah, it was a great comic. But,
I've never read any
but
of them, but
it's a great story. But
it's a
it do-
good warning for the kids.
It does deal
Yeah.
with the possibility of like a, Sasquatch committing murder like that, and it gets a little crazy in the book or whatever. But yeah, I mean, Chris, I don't know, man. What do you think?
I don't know. Unless we get one and are able to find out how smart it actually
You can
is.
sit down and like ask it like in an interrogation room. Like,
Well, you're not gonna be able to just ask it. Maybe you can, and it'll be like, well, as the representative of Sasquatch, that's a land you don't know about. We'll get there. Well, unless we can do that.
It's a land you don't know about.
It just
You
makes
You know what
sense.
it is, dude? And this fucking comes full circle. Flat Earth. The fucking, yeah, I went there. The fucking ice walls beyond that, guess what that is? Chris, what was it?
Oh, Sasquatch.
yeah, behind, that's where the Sasquatch live.
That just makes sense.
Yeah,
Beyond
I'm,
the wall.
I'm
You've sold
talking
me.
to you.
You sold me.
I'm putting fingers in your face.
You really are.
I know.
And it's kind of awkward.
You're doing this creepy point.
It is the creepy
Yeah, you
part.
the heavy
Okay.
metal pinky forefinger point.
You're dealing everyone. You're like you and you and you.
Chris say this, Rob, I'm talking to you.
Okay.
Flat Earth, ice wall, Sasquatch beyond that. What else? Could be Mothman.
So that's the first book that we're gonna come out. It's called Beyond the Wall, and it's
Oh yeah, dude, and it's fucking murderous Squatch. But then there's like a detective Squatch who's like, I'm not here for murder. I'm
okay.
here for justice.
You know what?
Wow.
What's the matter with the fucking detective?
I was
Squatch?
being
Oh,
serious, and
oh.
then you throwing a detective Sasquatch.
Yeah, it's like fucking Law and Order, dude.
I was at all noir to turn black and white, and he's got a
No,
cigarette. And
it's
he's like,
dude, it's Law and
"These
Order.
goddamn Squatch."
I want
know.
to
I'm
see. I want to see
trying-
a Stabler Squatch. He's just like, this is bullshit.
Lonnie Squatch on the case.
Oh, Lonnie's Squatch.
I love him. Fucking trench coat, fedora.
Yeah.
Well, obvious.
That's a great idea
Obs.
too. Son of a bitch.
Hey, totally obs.
Obs.
Yeah, classic noir.
Man, I mean, I guess in a way, yeah, we would have to actually like observe Sasquatch.
Well, are you just talking about acknowledging or confirming, I should say, its existence? Because, or are you talking a deeper issue of, all right, Sasquatch is real, just for the sake of argument.
Right.
And let's get it under observation so we can know if it's just killing as an animal would or smart enough to know better and still being a dick.
You'd
Is that what
prob-
you guys are saying?
Yeah, I think you'd have to actually observe. I mean, at least I'm not sure about Chris. I can't speak for him, but where I'm coming from, I guess you'd have to actually observe the animal, whether it's in its natural environment or a controlled environment, to be like, okay, what motivates this thing? Like, is it an omnivore? Is it a vegetarian? Is it a vegan? Does it like yogurt? What do you do?
The pressing question.
Yeah. the big important shit.
the pressing questions.
Well,
or how is it acting? Like, is it acting in a manner where it's only doing this for food, or is it something where it's just a fucking terror
I think
machine?
first it would be if you got the evidence, you found it in nature, it would be like Star Trek first. I think.
Oh, I like
you,
this.
You,
See, I
you
like
watch
this.
it in its natural.
Yeah,
Before
you'd hope.
You would observe it
You
to
wouldn't
see what
just
it does,
fucking
yeah.
tag it because you don't
Right.
know, right?
Well,
So I
you
think
know,
you'd be following
I would
it.
say, like, if an alien
Well,
culture
yeah,
came,
you would tag and follow it.
if
Probably.
an alien culture came,
I mean, you
and,
kind of have to
and
see what it
grabbed one
does.
of us, and then use that to base its entire view of humanity.
Yeah, that's what I.
Like,
Right, right.
one of the three of us?
Yeah, one of the three
Oh,
of us.
shit, yeah.
That would be a super flawed,
Can-
skewed look.
Can you
at
and I
our
just take?
species.
Can you and I just take the moment here just to confirm that Chris is probably going to be the best representative
Me?
out of all of us?
Oh no, I don't have any doubt about
Okay,
that.
yeah, no, me too.
I'm
Good.
not-
Yeah,
I do.
I'm,
All
I'm
right,
not saying.
You're throwing me to the ass probe.
Fuck off. Bend over and pucker up, buddy. Here we go. Chris and I aren't going to, Rob and I aren't going to watch while this happens. Don't worry.
Oh no, we'll turn.
Yeah, and we will.
No
give
thanks.
You,
You can keep your shame as
No,
a private
thanks.
event.
Thanks. I mean, I guess so. Like we were talking about earlier, I guess it is a matter of is it acting in
jeez.
a manner
That's me.
of because it is a predator, whether it be for food or territory, or again, Michael Myers, Squatch, is this thing just a fucking murder machine?
I think both are on the table, 100%.
Totally.
Yeah, there's-
Listen, I'm
yeah,
basing
totally.
I'm basing my theory on primates that we know and have studied thoroughly, especially the ones
Right.
that are closest to us, like chimpanzees.
Yeah.
and bonobo and other things like that. And chimpanzees, at least I know for a fact, have murdered other chimpanzees for
Yeah,
what
they have
Well, we
killing-
can't know. We
some
can't know what their
killing
motivations are.
tendencies.
Like, you touch my lady, it's over.
Yeah.
Or it could just
Yeah.
be I'm a fucking nutcase and I'm gonna grab this rock and bash,
Yeah.
bash, it's over.
But they have
Right.
weird things like if they look at each other wrong,
yeah, they get weird,
They get
like super
mad.
territorial.
Yeah,
and with
throw their
shit
teeth up
and-
they
yeah.
scream, jump, and you rip a head off. And you're
Yeah.
like, what
primates
why?
have done to human beings, chimpanzees especially. Sorry about your face and life and world
And balls.
And I'm not, by the way. Yes, your balls are in
They
jeopardy.
fucking rip nuts. Don't even tell
I'm
me
not-
they don't.
Just the way you said it.
I have to be very careful to point out I have all sympathy for people that have suffered this. But yeah, it sucks.
It's part of the list.
Fucking afterthought.
Balls.
And balls. Well, I mean, for years you guys warned me against getting a monkey. I've talked about it
We have
before.
saved your
God.
face so many times.
It's true. You have a face now because of Chris and
No,
I.
I really
Period.
do. I did not get the monkey. My face is saved. I thank you. Friendship continues.
Absolutely. But chimpanzees do
jeez.
crazy shit.
No, they do.
And they
They
also
do.
do things
Totally.
for food and
Yeah.
to protect their young. So if I'm just working on the assumption that a Sasquatch, and it's just an assumption, we don't know, is basically intelligent as a chimpanzee,
Right.
then it literally could be
It's plausible, yeah.
for function, for food, for
And-
protection, for territory, but also because sometimes they're just going to up and kill a motherfucker.
Yeah.
But on that same line of thought, though, if they're maybe more human-like, then the possibility of just a bad batch, one being a psycho, one being a little bit off.
Psychosis,
And
the
then-
potential of that
yeah.
increases the more like humans they
You
are.
get the dude. You get like the fucking Son of Sam or like Richard
Yeah.
Ramirez or fucking Ted Bundy of fucking
the
Sasquatch.
Night Stalker of the Squatch
Yeah, all
world.
of a sudden you literally and think about this, just because of their sheer size over us, it would be like it would just be like a feast.
Like if
I'm
they-
just gonna kill and eat these.
Yeah,
If they
fuckers.
flicked us in the face with their finger, like
They
it would
cave
crush our skull.
in. Yeah,
Exactly.
totally.
They're impossibly strong.
But now, on the other hand, though, there are people that bring Bigfoot gifts. So they
Yes.
might have a different take on
yeah,
this.
the gift exchange.
The gift exchange, yeah.
Right.
So we haven't really talked about this, and I don't want to necessarily get too deep into it because I don't necessarily understand it. But from what I gather, if you bring things into the woods for Bigfoot,
like
they,
apples and
I was thinking like
fruits
an
and sun-
Xbox.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Or like an iPhone. Maybe he gives you back like, here's a PS4 or like here's
Wow.
a Galaxy 6. So you can bring.
Wow.
You can actually bring, and I've seen YouTube videos of this, and I don't understand how it works. That you just bring them things, and then they
Nobody
leave you,
does.
They leave you like
Like
do
rock
they leave you like,
formations?
or like a carved figurine. I think I
I've
may.
never
I think
heard
I
of
saw
such a
it.
thing.
It was like a little
So
twig.
the Whittling Squatch is fucking
Yeah, that's what- I
sitting
don't-
on his
So there
porch
was
with a blade
footage
of
of
grass
somebody leaving something, and then they're like, "We'll see what happens," and they come back later, and
and
they,
find something.
"Oh look,
Yeah,
I'm pretty
so
sure-
authentic.
the devil boy,
It'll be dope. I'm pretty sure it was a scam,
wooden
but
piece of shit."
yeah, it was, he wouldn't be
So mad.
shit.
Anyway,
So I guess on that, but that might actually err more towards that these squash are maybe trying to that they understand us somehow, and that we're leaving gifts for each other. I'm vamping.
I can't
I
find
don't
that-
understand.
No, hold on.
That-
Before you get too excited about that, crows do that. If you leave little silvery things and trinkets that they like,
Yeah.
they will bring you back. Or if you leave
Or if you
food
feed
for
them, they'll bring back
they'll bring you back
trinkets,
tin
coins,
foil
and shiny stuff,
and
and
shiny
gems.
shit.
Crows do this?
Yeah.
Crows do it 100%.
Absolutely.
So this is
I did
this
not.
doesn't
wait,
mean.
don't act
oh
like
my
I didn't.
God!
Don't
All right,
act
stop.
like this is no. This
do we
is,
have
this
to
is
talk
crazy.
about crows for 10 minutes?
Not
No.
10 minutes, but so if I leave shit out for a crow,
Yeah, food and whatnot.
it will bring me back shit.
They'll bring it back shiny
Eventually,
objects.
that's-
and-
Nickels.
they've been shown to do that.
Like there's this little
Just shiny
girl
shit, like
that like used to leave food out, and they would come to her, and they're a hyper intelligent animal,
Yeah.
and they became kind of her friend, and they would bring her trinkets and little baubles and
Why aren't we all
coins.
doing this?
I did. I've tried.
Crows aside, Bigfoot gift exchange. Maybe they won't kill us. Maybe they just want to exchange gifts.
Not all
Yeah.
of them. That's
Maybe
the
they-
thing.
you know?
You know what the human race has? Gandhi. You know what else we have? Hitler. You
That's
can't
true.
fucking grade everyone based on the performance of
So
a
maybe
few.
there's some super cool, super cool
Yeah,
squatches.
and that's still
that wanna,
not like a confirmed thing for me, really.
what the
Was that-
Sasquatch exists.
No, the exchange.
Oh, me neither. I think it's dubious. at
What's even
best, but I think it's
crazier
kind of fun.
Is the bat
Should we
shit
try it?
No,
nuts? The
Why-
batshit nuts
why?
out there.
Why are you shooting it down? You wanna-
because
you wanna do it?
no.
I don't want to do it.
Why don't you want to do it?
I don't like. No, I love crows. I would totally do it.
No, not crows. A Sasquatch gifting thing.
We don't have Sasquatch around here.
We can. There's in Ithaca.
Yeah, or
Oh,
that
no,
you've
there's-
seen.
there was
there's-
one sighting in Ithaca in the 1970s.
Doesn't mean that we can't go and bring a gift.
No, there was a claim out in Mays Point.
Yeah, there was.
Oh,
Yeah,
there was.
we chronicled
there
it,
was.
yeah.
There
There was claims.
But that was a cycloptic squatch. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do.
That it had one eye.
Yeah, that was a really fascinating interview we
We
conducted.
should talk about that someday.
We will someday.
That will be a bonus episode that hopefully won't get us
That's well,
sued.
maybe not. And
sued into the ground.
We'll listen to it and see how it plays.
so,
Anywho.
killer squatch.
maybe not.
Yeah.
No, they kill definitely 100%. But
Yeah. I just wonder if maybe if it really is just because that they are a predator. I don't necessarily think that maybe they're killing for sport and fun. But maybe they are, like you said. Maybe there's just a couple of offshoots that are just like, you know what? Like, fucking, I love killing people, and killing's my fucking business.
And business is
business
good.
Business is good.
Yeah.
It's possible.
It
Of
is,
course.
literally.
Listen, when it's all said and done, here's the point of it that I think. They're wild animals. Even if they are the most intelligent animals, even if they're closer to us genetically than chimps, and they have the ability to think things through, and they clearly, if they exist, are sage enough to avoid us by and large, there's going to be some of them that might just, like say, get a taste for human flesh and want to do it. Others might just out of desperation, starvation, hunger attack. Others might be trying to protect their loved ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just don't think we should pre-assume that they are just these, again, the classic phrase, gentle giants that are
you absolutely.
out in
That's
the woods
that's
just
a
I
valid point.
think the same thing, yeah.
and wanting to hug us if they weren't so shy.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
they want to hug us, they want to hug us to death.
Or if you happen to see one, you go in for the hug, and then it just gives you the double axe handle, and the next thing you know, you're
The Polish hammer.
the Polish hammer, and next thing you know, your fucking head is just pushed right into the center
Yeah.
of your body.
Yep, you're
And
a
then
juggernaut.
You're just a little a pile of
Juggernaut.
paralyzation
Wham,
on the
man.
floor, and you're fucked. Like that's it. You're done.
Like I can see like one of those 70s like fucking beautiful meadow, sun shining, the slow motion
Yeah.
one. You're running, the Sasquatch is running, you're running, and suddenly it's got a fucking deer in its hand. It's like Hank Aaroning your fucking face off.
Oh yeah.
just breaks your jaw off your face.
Oh, yeah,
like,
you're done.
Your tongue. Oh, it's
I still
fucked
think
up.
it's a dick
Jesus
move because it
Christ.
seemed like such in that Bigfoot fucking duel we were talking about earlier. It seems such a fair fight. I hit you, you hit me, I hit you. Whoever survives gets the deer, and then finally the big guy's like, "Fuck off!" Bronk, with a giant carcass upside
Maybe.
the head.
So it's a
But maybe he's the one that killed it originally.
Yeah, he
And,
could.
and the good one guy won.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he's a bad guy. It just seemed like a cheap move.
Is a Sasquatch fight a fair fight?
Is it ever?
Not if he got it first though.
We know a ghost fight is never a fair fight.
Ghost fight is
No,
never
but
a
it's,
fair
yeah,
fight.
space fight definitely
But
is.
space fight
space
is always
fight's
fair.
always fair,
Yeah, we
yeah.
know that.
Yeah, we need.
It's science
Okay.
that you guys don't need.
Yeah,
our
no.
audience
So
can just.
regardless, if you're gonna go out in the
speculate.
forum, go with people.
Yes.
Yep.
Gift in one hand, shotgun in the other.
Perfect.
You're prepared.
Yeah, and Chris and Rob aren't really big gun guys, but I think that I can get them in my gunboat, if you will, when it comes to with Sasquatch. I'll arm you guys. How
It's
about
treacherous.
that? Yeah.
I got a machete and a staff.
You do. Your machete's pretty dope, and you got swords and shit though too.
They're
don't
not
you?
sharp.
Oh, they're not. Oh, that's right, they're not.
I might have a couple dirks lying around. I got some stars.
Yeah, you do.
All right, there you have it. You know what? Happy Halloween.
Happy motherfucking
Happy Ween.
Halloween.
Happy Halloween. I'm glad everybody out there I'm hoping everyone out there is enjoying their Halloween.
I do too.
Be sure to leave us some ratings and reviews in the iTunes and Apple Podcast app. Stick around a little bit because we're going to be doing some of those social medias.
Right.
Twitters, Facebook, Instagrams. Check us out there. Follow, like, comment, share. Those are always completely appreciated. Big Cartel. We got some stuff happening over there with some merch for sale. Did I miss anything?
That's a lot.
I
It's
don't think
quite a
so.
bit.
I think you nailed it.
I think the important thing is to know that we put links in the description of this podcast.
Yes.
So reference that.
That's so much
And
better.
yeah, because I'm gonna tell you stuff, and you're gonna be like, "What the hell is he talking about?" Just go down there and look at it. It's
It just makes
Rob's
sense.
article will be there. The link for his to purchase on Amazon will be there. There's a bunch of stuff going on. So I'm gonna over-explain a little bit more. So there you have it. And talking to you soon.
yeah.
Be safe out in the woods.
I agree.
Yeah.
Be safe on the street. Be safe in your bedroom.
Yeah, be safe.
Yeah.
Be safe out in the streets.
It's not like like when you said that, we like Chris and I should have been like,
Yeah, I
You're
was
like, yeah. Keep
Yeah.
going, Rob. I'm like, where else can you be safe?
Yeah,
be safe in the
I know.
supermarket. Be
safe-
safe in the deli.
be safe in space.
You can't be. No, it's
Be
dangerous.
safe in your
nothing.
local
Nothing's
pizzeria.
more dangerous than
Yeah,
fucking
space
space.
is
It's true.
overt death.
Radiation.
I mean, you have to
It is.
really try
No
to not
oxygen.
die.
Yeah, all the
It
time.
is.
There's a just.
It's
that's-
a constant. It's a constant effort to not be killed.
We'll be talking to you soon.
Absolutely.
Bye.
Keep it spooky.
Be on the wall out in paperback next year.
All right, right, cool. So thank you for sticking around for the ratings and reviews, guys. This is coming to us from the iTunes and the Apple Podcast apps. Amazing show, 5 stars from. Are you prepared for this? Batman.
Oh,
1 1 2 1 8 3 11 21 83.
Holy shit! Is that a pin number? What are we getting here?
I'm thinking it's a birth date of Batman.
It could well be.
There you go. Goes on to say, found these hilarious guys on Instagram. We followed some of the same comic and cryptozoology accounts and was intrigued. Downloaded a few episodes to check them out and instantly fell in love.
Aw.
Not only are they pros in the world and knowledge and backstory of famous cryptozoology monsters and stories, but they're also funny as hell and comic nerds. Perfect. Every episode I've listened to so far is laugh out loud funny and full of nerdy references, right up my alley. You gentlemen have something good going on there. You have a lifelong fan. Keep up the amazing work. Take care, Wally. Oh, and he gives us a little breakdown of his last name here. Cisniak, LOL, in case you attempt to say it on air. And actually, yeah, I talked to Wally on Instagram quite a bit, actually.
well, fucking
no
sweet.
shit.
What
Thank
up,
you.
Wally?
Thank you, Batman Wally.
You know what's funny is I'm reading the review and I get to the bottom and I'm like, oh, it's Wally from Instagram. Oh. I'm like, oh, hey, what's up,
Yeah.
dude?
Mystique is gone.
Yeah, exactly. Like, oh shit, I know who Batman is.
But thank you, and it is a stunning indictment
totally.
of us. We are geeks. We love comics.
That's
we
true.
love
Yeah,
our
there you
metal
go.
and our punk, and we love the fuck out of our monsters.
There it is. So,
Thank
Robert,
you.
what do you have from us from Facebook?
From Facebook. This review comes to us from Jennifer Carey. I can't say anything that everyone else hasn't already said. This is an amazing podcast with hilarious hosts. I look forward to hearing each new episode and love coming back to listen to old favorites. Enfield Horror for the win. Nice.
Oh,
That's one
yeah.
of my
Good
fucking
pull.
super
Yeah,
favorites.
that's right.
A lot of people go Krampus, but I think the hardcores go Enfield Horror.
Well, yeah.
Which is a little kind of disturbing because, like, Krampus was one of our first pods. It's like,
That's right, yeah.
I'd like to think we're getting better.
I get a lot of
Maybe
comments
we're
about the
not.
Loveland Frog still, so.
Oh, I guess we peaked already.
Oh, totally.
Hey, everyone, enjoy our slow
Yeah.
decline.
Those first 5 are gold, but
yeah, and considering that we're on episode 52 now, so yeah, no, that'll
Yeah,
do it.
no,
There
you know,
it
as
is.
long it's just a gradual slide, I can live with it. And she ends with, "Keep up the great work." Well, gosh darn it, we're going to try,
Thank you.
Jennifer.
We will
Thank
try.
you.
We will make the attempt. All right. So finishing off the reviews for this week, we got Super Rad Pod. I'm saying it like that because it's all caps.
Oh,
Super
nice.
Rad Pod.
Tight.
5 stars from Cryptid Kid. A couple of months ago, I was looking through Spotify, wondering if there was at least one podcast out there about cryptids and the weird. As I typed in cryptids into the search bar, I was expecting to find nothing. However, I was amazingly surprised when my eyes landed on the Cryptonaut podcast. From the moment I saw that super rad astronaut skeleton design, I was hooked. For the next couple of weeks, I binged all your episodes, and ever since then, I've been patiently waiting for more. The 3 hosts have such a great, funny, and sweet brotherly chemistry. It doesn't matter if you're not into cryptozoology or aliens or the other, you will find yourself deeply engaged in the subjects of not only the pod, but their banter as well. As an amateur cryptozoologist / ufologist myself, huge emphasis on amateur. Not only do I listen to each episode to lighten my day or to have something to listen to while I'm drawing, but I also listen to them to learn something new. I really do appreciate the level of detail the guys go into while describing the stories and events, while staying fun and not boring. I love to listen to the Cryptonaut podcast in the morning on my way to school because honestly, what's an early morning rise without some witches, blobs, or possible homeless guys with bike deflectors? Bike deflectors.
yeah.
These guys rock. Lots of love from the home of the Mothman, KK.
Oh.
P.S. Even though the Mothman is sort of a mainstream, I guess Cryptid, you guys should totally do an episode on the Flying Fiend.
Oh,
Son of a bitch, thank you.
busted
That was
out the Flying Fiend.
The
I'm so
Flying
proud.
Fiend. Yeah, no, you know what, Cryptid Kid, that is an awesome fucking review.
Dude, that was
and
so
thank you so
gosh
much.
darn heartwarming.
That was
Absolutely.
awesome.
We are
That was
brotherly,
great.
and you know what? All through that, it's like, you know, when Grinch was at Christmas time and his heart grew 3 times that day.
Yeah.
Mine grew 6.
There you go.
That was
Cool.
really wonderful.
So there you have it. Thank you very much.
And for the record,
here we go.
I just want to say this too.
Sure.
He's on the docket. Like, it's not like I've never written an article and we don't care about it. Yes, we don't do a lot of mainstream, but that's still odd mainstream. That still fits definitely in our
yeah.
purview.
Totally.
So Mothman's happening.
We
Oh, yeah,
actually,
fuck yeah.
I've talked to people who have sent us requests before, and I often tell people too that with this podcast, we do actually have a short list of things that we're going over, and we just tend to shuffle our lists quite a bit because something like the Mothman is going to require us more than this one episode. It's going to be like a multi-part episode.
Well, it's such a big phenomenon,
Yeah,
and it's so
dude.
important in the
Oh,
fields
oh
of
my God, yeah.
cryptozoology, the paranormal,
it
the whole
goes
nine
into
yards.
ufology, it goes into all kinds of
Yeah,
stuff.
it's
so.
multi-spectrum madness.
All right, cool. So there you have it. Thank you for joining us, and we're talking to you soon.
Absolutely.
Bye.
Happy Halloween, you
Happy
sons of bitches. I love you so much.
This is Halloween. This is Halloween. 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 Halloween.
How come they never
was
show
trying
the
to finish
Grinch's
Jupin
Halloween
now, but I
anymore?
couldn't.
The what?
The goddamn Grinch Halloween special. They act like it doesn't exist. It was
There's
made
a
in the 70s.
Grinch?
Yes, there isn't. The fact that you don't know is what
Chris, do you know
heartbreaks
about
me.
this Grinch Halloween special?
Oh, I vaguely do, but I couldn't tell you any
It
specifics
should be
about
a
it.
stone
Are
darn
you
class.
having a
Google
moment?
it. I am not having
you
a
sure?
fucking senior moment.
How
Are you
far
sure?
after Christmas was it
Yeah.
made?
It was, I would say maybe less than 10 years, but not
If
much.
you know about the Grinch
All right.
Halloween special, DM me on Instagram. We'll be talking to you.
But,
Must have sucked.
oh no, I started back too far. Fuck.
Malodorous.
Malodorous.
Urungus.
Jesus Christ.
Is that-
The humongous.
Oh my god, it's a movie I never saw, but I did.
Yeah. Oh no. Chris
So it
and I
was
tried to watch that on
95%
videotape.
darkness?
Yeah.
It was the blackness that was blacker than blackness. It was,
Cool.
was so shadow shrouded.
I don't know what
we
happened.
saw like vague outlines through like sunlit doors. We watched it on videotape actually back in the day, and it
I
was like
think there was a cabin.
I think there was a
Or
cabin. I
in
think there
the
were some
woods?
teenagers, maybe a dog.
The malodorous malungulus?
Humongous.
Humongous. Okay, cool.
Malodorous
It
humongous.
seems like a classic of 80 cinema.
say
We would
malodorous?
know.
Mal-
You can't see it.
malodorous humongous.
Oh Lord. Oh
What,
Lord in
what
heaven.
happened?
I know, it was just a meltdown. It was a vocabulary meltdown.
This is what happens because I can't read.
Jeez.
I'm the one that fucked up malodorous.
All right,
I gotta
malodorous.
take the fucking brunt of this.
All right.
I'm gonna read it from the top.
All right, do it.
What I have is a review from Jennifer Carey. And she says, I can't say anything that everyone else hasn't already said. This is an amazing podcast with hilarious hosts. I look forward to each and every new episode. I'm sorry, I'm just adding fucking words. I'm just embellishing beyond the
well-
point.
That's okay. Just keep embellishing. She probably means it.
I look forward to hearing each new episode.
Okay.
Not each and every.
Well, okay.
I mean,
Each
she
new
listened to
episode.
all of them.
Yeah, I'd like to think so.
All right, cool.
But you know what? We're
If
gonna
not, it's
we're gonna
fucked
own
up.
the facts. We are a
You're right.
true to life podcast that just
Transparent.
likes to stick with that
You're
shit.
transparent.
And coming back to listen to old oh shit, I fucked that up.
We're so sorry, Jennifer.
Jesus Christ, Jennifer, we're so sorry.
Jennifer, you deserve so much
It
better
actually
than
has
me.
been. We've been doing this for a while now, over a couple hours.
Yeah,
so.
we're
we've
getting
been-
tired.
A little punch drunk. I'm a
Yeah.
little drunk.
All right. All right, Rob, kick her off here.
All right. Am I going to just end it or start from the top?
Just start from the top.
Okay. Well, lead me in. No, I'm kidding.